Welcome to the She's So Sweet podcast, where we interview accomplished women who have worked their way to the C-suite. I'm your host, Kristi Faltorusso, Chief Customer Officer and award-winning customer success executive. I am so thrilled to introduce today's guest, Steph Reck, Chief Revenue Officer at Japhy AI. Hey, Steph, welcome to the show.
Hi, Kristi. Thanks so much for having me today.
I'm so excited for our conversation. But before we get started, I want to do a little play here because I don't normally do this. We don't usually really go off script. Can you show, for people that are watching, can you lift your coffee cup? Okay, so now anyone who's watching will see that the coffee cup says, "She's a wrecking ball." And I love that. But now I want you to start by giving us, what is the story behind "She's a wrecking ball"?
Well, I tend to come into companies when they're at a position of disarray. They've grown to an extent that they now don't know what to do with their company. They don't know how to scale. They don't have process and procedures. They just kind of gobbled things together and figured it out of oftentimes sheer luck and hard work. And they'll bring me in to kind of blow that up, wreck it internally, and then put it back together in a very durable and sustainable manner so that they are ready to scale efficiently.
I love that so much. I love that you're using the cup today. I think it's so on brand for our conversation, and we're going to get to hear the stories that probably help us understand why you're the wrecking ball. I do want to take a few minutes and talk about kind of advice you wish you would have learned earlier in your career, because I feel like that's something that's always very interesting to me, right? Like we've seen the movie. Now, if you had to play it back, what's the one thing you wish you would have learned earlier in your career that you think would have had significant impact on your success?
That just because they're in a position of power or in a higher level role than you does not mean they know what they're talking about.
Oh man, I felt that.
They're probably faking it.
Okay, now I have my own hypothesis of why I would agree with that. Why do you believe that to be true?
Because I've been at the top long enough now and worked with a lot of incompetent individuals who are so fear-based that they won't ask questions. They won't let people know that they don't know what they're talking about. And I have been so much more successful since I've said, I don't know what I don't know. Right. So I'm going to ask all the questions.
Yeah.
And if I have this question, I know that 2 or 3 other people at the C-suite have the same question.
100%.
And they don't know how to do it, but they're afraid to say they don't know how to do it.
Right. Because everyone is pretending in their roles. Right. And so it is so funny. I didn't realize that myself until I myself became, I would say, like VP and above, that I used to have this like inferiority complex, right? Because of we won't get into all of my childhood stuff, but, I just never thought I was good enough. And so when I would get these opportunities, I'd sit around and be like, okay, I literally don't belong in this room because look at these people, right? And I made so many assumptions about their experiences and their knowledge and their expertise, and I put them on a pedestal, right? I had them up here, and I felt like I was so beneath them. But then to work alongside of them, and to your point, see the incompetence, or just like, I guess maybe not even to downplay anybody else, but to think how smart I was and how capable I was in comparison to the folks in the room. I wasn't less than. We had different experiences, but I was exactly where I belonged. And so I very much feel the sentiment of that statement.
Yeah, I'd say I grew up also feeling like I was less than. I was treated as less than the majority of my life. And it wasn't until I had been really, I was in a CRO role, years ago as well. It wasn't called Chief Revenue Officer at the time, but it was, executive director of an agency. And I ran CS and sales and marketing. So that is a CRO role. And I realized, wow, our founder doesn't know what he's doing. Our other leaders know part of what they're doing. Like they'll know their piece of the pie, but they don't understand the full go-to-market motion. And because I had taken it upon myself to lead sales, fix sales, go to CS, fix that side, go to the production department, fix that team, and figure out how to work cross-functionally, I went, wait, I'm the one who has the knowledge that spans this entire org. So I need to speak up. If I don't speak up, then who's going to do it? If I don't work to get everybody on the same page, rowing the same direction, who else is going to do it? Because they clearly hadn't figured out how to do it themselves.
There's so many people in leadership that emulate exactly what you've just described, and it's sad. But hopefully the rest of us will, to your point, speak up, speak out, lead out, take charge, and also feel comfortable just asking the questions, right? Because to your point, I think that's a big part of it. Well, before we wrap up today, Steph, I have to ask you, right? You covered a lot, and obviously so impressive your experiences. What's the one thing you want to leave our listeners with today?
Be the voice. Be the voice, open the door, hold it open for more people, make space at the table for them, and then give them the opportunity to fail forward. I think too many people are worried about dropping the plates. I have to hold all the plates. I have to make sure that nothing falls through the cracks. It's okay. If you don't let things fall through the cracks, you'll never know what will happen when things fall through the cracks. And so many times that crack, if you can see this painting behind me, you can see windows and doors and opportunities that are over there. If we don't ever take the opportunity to open a door and look in it, fall in a crack, get washed out with the water, you can tell it's one of my favorite piece of art, then we won't know what's on the other side. And I bet you that what's on the other side is going to give you, at a minimum, good experience. Because we have to experience the bad and the good to appreciate both.
Yeah.
So if you never have a misstep, how are you ever going to appreciate the on-point steps that you have?
Well, I think we need to help everyone find organizations where they can do that in a safe environment, because I think the fear, to your point earlier in our conversation, the fear is what contributes to these people striving for perfection and doing all the things and not being able to operate the way they should. We shouldn't be so fear-based, and we have to be in environments where it's okay to fail.
Yeah. We need to support one another. That's a big one. How can we be supportive of one another and lift one another up and give people the opportunity to be the next best version of themselves?
I love that so much. What a powerful way to end.